Welcome back to Digital Mzansi. For centuries, we've been asking ourselves one of the oldest, most profound questions imaginable. What actually makes us human? Today, we're diving straight into what's rapidly becoming the defining question of the AI age. For a really long time, the answer seemed completely obvious, right? It was our intelligence, our unique ability to reason, to solve complex problems, to create. That was our ultimate superpower. But then, artificial intelligence arrived on the scene. And suddenly, machines are doing all these incredible things: writing, painting, programming, even composing music. They're answering our deepest questions and holding totally nuanced conversations with us. So it kind of feels like the question has shifted. Our anxiety shouldn't really be about what humans can do anymore. Instead, this explainer is going to focus on a much deeper idea: what will always make us human? Part 1. Intelligence was never enough. The limitations of pure logic. For generations, we truly believed our pure logic was what made us so unique. But AI has basically shattered that wall. We've totally confused intelligence with humanity. Just think about it for a second. The smartest person in the room isn't always the wisest, are they? AI might absolutely be the smartest entity in terms of raw processing speed, but wisdom? Well, wisdom has never been measured by speed. It's measured by depth. Moving right along to part 2, knowing versus understanding, the weight of experience. Imagine, heaven forbid, someone loses a loved one. An AI can instantly generate comforting words, and they might even be the technically perfect words. But describing grief is not the same thing as understanding it. Real understanding, that comes from sitting beside a hospital bed. It comes from attending a funeral, and from carrying heavy memories that absolutely no algorithm has ever lived through. So knowledge can just be generated, but true understanding is earned. Which brings us to part 3. Judgment cannot be downloaded, the burden of choice. Literally, every single day, you and I face complex decisions that just don't have perfect mathematical answers. For example, should you forgive someone who deeply hurt you? Or how about this? Should you stay in a perfectly safe situation or leave your job and step right into the unknown? Should you tell a painful truth when a lie would be so much easier? Look, these aren't equations. They can't just be solved by feeding a computer more data. They require human judgment, which emerges organically from our personal values, the mistakes we've made, and the relationships we've built. Sure, AI can offer incredibly detailed advice on all these matters, but here's the kicker. It never has to actually live with the fallout. It doesn't feel the sting of regret or the warmth of reconciliation. The ultimate burden of choice rests entirely on our human shoulders. That takes us to part 4, the South African lesson: wisdom under impossible circumstances. South Africa has taught the world a truly remarkable lesson here. Our greatest leaders aren't remembered just because they process data the fastest. No way. They're remembered because they demonstrated profound wisdom under nearly impossible circumstances. Things like forgiveness, reconciliation, absolute courage, and vision. As the saying goes, history rarely celebrates people simply for being intelligent. It remembers those who knew exactly how to use their intelligence in service of humanity. And in an age where raw intelligence is basically becoming a commodity, that service to humanity is absolutely our true north. Part 5. What AI cannot inherit: the shape of a human life. Think about this. Artificial intelligence can inherit an infinite amount of information, but it completely lacks the ability to inherit the linear, often painful passage of time. It can't inherit your childhood memories or your very first heartbreak. It doesn't know the overwhelming awe of a child's birth or the profound grief of losing a parent. Those are the specific, lived experiences that shape exactly who we become. So, our humanity really isn't defined by our internal databases or just the raw information we possess. It's defined by the deeply, truly earned lives we live. And finally, part 6. A future of wisdom, growing alongside technology. Maybe the future won't actually belong to the people desperately trying to compete with AI's processing speed. Instead, it's going to belong to those who actively cultivate qualities that machines simply cannot experience: compassion, humility, integrity, courage, presence. We have to cultivate these not just because AI can't fake them, but because they are literal ways of living that only emerge through the beautifully messy process of being human.
Throughout this entire technological revolution, we focused almost all our anxiety on the evolution of the machine. We keep asking, can AI become more like humans? But you know what? Perhaps we've been asking the totally wrong question this whole time.
The far greater uncertainty, the real question we absolutely need to be asking ourselves, is this: are humans becoming the kinds of people worth becoming? Technology is going to continue to evolve. That much is a given. But are we going to continue growing right alongside it?
Because the honest truth is, the future doesn't just need smarter machines. It desperately needs wiser people. If this explainer reminded you that humanity is about so much more than just raw intelligence, well, then we've already succeeded today.
So please don't spend all your time just trying to become more efficient. Spend a little time becoming wiser. Make sure to subscribe to Digital Mzansi, where we love to explore these deeper questions that are actively shaping our future. Because as algorithms learn to perfectly mimic our minds, it leaves us with one final, urgent question that we'll dive into next time. Who truly owns your digital self? Until then, take care and stay wise.